So recording is on. So everybody here participating can get a 15% discount on the annual reports later on. So keep that in mind. We will give you the discount code, and then, or you can just contact us and ask for the discount code because you watched the webinar. So we have 4 participants. It's me, Tõnis Jõgeva from 1Office. We are the service providers on Estonian E-residency marketplace. We offer company registration, annual reports, accounting, virtual office, everything revolved around your business in Estonia. But today, the topic is annual report. Then we have Katrin and Grete from legal team and accounting team, respectively. And then they are representing 1Office. And then Raimo Matvere from E-residency partnership team. Raimo will be representing the government, giving some introductory words before our specialists will give you the overview. So I guess there's not much to say for me anymore. I will be moderating, showing some slides, and then we'll gather your questions at the end of the webinar. Although we did get a lot of proactivity from you guys, so some of the questions that you asked are already embedded into this webinar. So Katrin and Grete will try to answer them as they go. But if something is left unanswered, at the end you can in the chat you can leave your questions and we will go through them as best as we can. I just wanted to emphasize that this is about annual reports only, and so if you have tax questions, then those are so complicated, and we are really not focused on taxes at the moment. So it's about annual reports only. And the floor is for Raimo. Raimo, please.
Hello. Yes, I'm Raimo. I'm head of partnerships at the E-residency team, and it's always a pleasure to take part in any of the webinars that are held by our service providers who are actually helping E-residents to run their companies and to establish them. And as I understand, today the main topic is annual report. It's quite exciting time of the year, I must say, because it's always interesting and useful to know how did you do last year. For Estonians, like we can say it's kind of a joke, but many Estonians have their own small companies, usually those one-man or one-woman companies, and then this annual report season is quite exciting in a way that especially for an extremely small micro company like I have, for example, the number of transactions is so small and the rules are quite straightforward. So with the first few years, you need some help. And then you basically, if you are really, really into doing it on your own, you can actually do it and everything can be done online. So yeah, it's like, I believe it's quite extraordinary to have your annual report done in a few hours or so. So yeah. Definitely. But what I would like to say, though, is that we in E-residency team also trying to help E-residents as well as we can. And today you are talking about annual reports and finances, but if you have any other E-residency related questions or you need some information or background, then I'd like to maybe give a few ideas where to start searching for information. Of course, you can always turn to your service provider, but if you are more into reading on your own first, then all the practical matters are usually quite well covered in E-residency knowledge base, which is a special section on our website. So if you have some questions or concerns regarding your card renewals, tax basics, business banking, your duties and obligations, so on, then this is the place where we recommend you to start looking for. The other thing is that we have a E-residency blog, which is also connected to our website, where are different kind of content coming up quite often. There are actually stories about E-residents, so we recommend you to read them. And if you feel that you have a story that you would like to share with us, maybe your business is quite extraordinary, or your journey to become and to be e-resident has been interesting and actually a happy one, then we are always very happy to get any input. And if you feel like you would like to share a story, please do contact our team through social media channels or through support at least. This is one thing, and the other thing why we recommend you to visit our blog is there are also useful practical information and then suggestions. These content pieces are quite often created by different kind of service providers, also focusing on tax and legal issues, sometimes company formation topics, and so on, so on. So this is also like a useful tool for you. And the third thing I was thinking I would like to share with you is that e-residency, all in all, is a community as well. There are 90,000 e-residents all around the world, and we see it as a community of innovative, future-thinking people who mostly have some entrepreneurial interest as well. So we are always happy to help you to have this to facilitate this community feeling and to actually help you finding potential cooperation partners, customers, so on, so on. So for that, there are two things. Also on our website, there is a company list, which is a dedicated part of our website where you can actually create a profile for your e-resident company, showcase what do you do, who are your partners, so on, so on, so that if there are some other e-residents or even not e-residents who are searching for potential cooperation partners or customers, then it's an option to showcase your business. And the other thing, the last thing is that although e-residency has the virtue of being virtual and enabling everything to do online, then face-to-face meetings are always thing that makes people happy. I see Tõnis is smiling, he knows that. and sometimes e-residency also organizes community meetups by themselves, or they are organized in cooperation with ERIKA, which is a representative organization of e-residents. And if everything goes well and travel restrictions and international security situation goes a bit better, then there is going to be a big startup conference this spring in Tallinn as well, Latitude 59, which has been there already many years, and always quite a lot of e-residents come there, and we also encourage you to think of actually visiting the conference. First of all, the conference is good. This is one of the extraordinary times when we have usually beautiful weather, and you have a chance to meet other e-residents as well, and there will be definitely community meetup. So follow our e-residency channels as well to get more information about how to get the discount code for the Latitude tickets and so on. Yeah, that's all, I guess, for now. And now you can go to the serious things.
It's all very serious, but also have to keep this good mood and good atmosphere. So this community of e-residents is a good recommendation. And I guess the starting point is to sign up for 1Office newsletter and also e-residency newsletter to be up to date with all of the happenings. You wouldn't want to miss the Latitude. I've missed it before Corona, so that's sad. So definitely check out the e-residency's website, sign up for the newsletter, do the same with 1Office newsletter, and check out the knowledge base. I really recommend it. Most of our clients come to us via e-residency page, and they usually read something there about VAT, about the annual reports, and then they need like an expansion of that initial article. Like there's really good starting information, and then you can expand on that and then contact 1Office, for example. But yeah, let's go into the topic, and the floor is for Katrin and Grete regarding the annual reports. I'll share my screen and then you can see the slides as well. They are just informative, but maybe they'll help you. So So I hope everybody can see the screen. And Katrin, go ahead, the head of our legal department, why you need annual reports from legal perspective.
Hello, everybody. So to start today, we have divided this topic into two parts, legal part and accounting part. We start with some legal points, just to give you maybe like the bigger context of this annual report requirement, where it's regulated, so why it's needed, what are the terms for submitting the report. Then we will have a part about the accounting part of annual reports. At the end, again, we come back to the legal questions that are related to, let's say, the result of your financial year. So let's start from the beginning. So the question, why it's necessary to submit the annual report. So such an obligation is included into the Estonian Commercial Code, which regulates all the actions related to your company. So from the registration to all kinds of changes, requirements, reporting, running, and everything. So according to the law, every company that is registered in the business register must submit annual report. And it doesn't matter if it's a small company, medium-sized company, big corporation, one-man company, company with a big revenue, or, for example, just a dormant company. All companies must submit annual report. And it is the obligation of the owners of the company to make sure that when the financial year ends, that the annual report is done. And the second thing closely related to your annual report is a decision about accumulated loss or profit. So everything that is related to these decisions are made by the owners of the company. So how legally this process goes is once the financial year has ended, the board must prepare the annual report, must present it to the owners of the company. Then the owners of the company review it, approve it, make decisions about the distribution of profit. Basically, the decision is two ways. Either owners decide that the profit will be distributed or not distributed, so two options there. And once the owners have approved the annual report, then the board submits it, and the report must be submitted to the business register. And this must be done within 6 months from the end of the financial year. Annual report is not just reflecting the financial situation of the company. There are two more important legal aspects related to annual report. First is that the business activity of your company is indicated in the annual report. So I assume everybody who's participating today already have a company, but either way, if you register the company, then you must indicate one type of business activity, and this will be recorded in the business register. So annual report is this place where you indicate what is really happening. Like today, or for example, last year, you decided to register the company, you had a business idea, you registered that you will be selling vehicles, for example. But during the financial year, you changed your mind, you started to do something different. So this change of your business activity will be reflected in the annual report. In your annual report, you need to show what was the business activity of finished financial year, and also show what will be the planned business activity for the current financial year. So this is one additional aspect to the annual report. And the second is each year with the annual report, the company must also give a list of the owners of the company. So for example, if there's been some changes compared to the last year, then all these owner changes must be also recorded in the annual report. And another important thing is, like based on the AML regulations, it is necessary to register the beneficial owners of the company also with the business register. And Estonian government has set up such a system that it's not possible to submit annual report before confirmation has been submitted regarding the beneficial owners. Either just to confirm that the beneficial owners are the same as they were last year, or if the situation has changed, then first make changes to the beneficial owners, and then you can proceed with the annual report submission. So these two things, like recording in the register your actual business activity and the correct ownership of the company, goes together with the annual report each year. The second topic I would like to cover is deadlines and what is financial year. So financial year basically can be any period of 12 months. But in Estonia, at least, it's very traditional to have a financial year equal to calendar year. And this is also like most of our clients use the same financial year. And whatever financial year you choose to have, the 6 months deadline applies to all financial years. So wherever is what you decide, 6 months from the end of that year, you have to submit the report. The period of financial year is reflected in the company's articles of association. So once you register the company, you had to already decide which will be the annual financial year for your company. If during time of your business, for some reason, you decide to change it, then it means that you have to go back to the articles of association, you have to make a change there. Then this change will be registered in a business register, and then it will be officially your new financial year. And financial year is also one of these considered most important information about the company. So your financial year is also reflected on the business registry card. So anybody who is looking for information about the company, they open a business register site, so they type in your company name, and they can see all the important information, including the financial year, which is meant to give our companies like more credibility. Then everybody's like who is interested in getting to know your business, for example, like a bank's to open a bank account, or your business partners, or your suppliers, or cooperation partners, that they can see, okay, the financial year is this. They can also see if your financial reports have been submitted on time, and also who is interested can purchase a submitted annual report from the business registry. And the last topic before we go into deeper into accounting is what happens when you don't submit annual report on time. This also follows under the regulation in the commercial code. And what happens is that if the company does not submit annual report within the 6 months, then the first thing is that the business registry will issue a warning. It will say that you have missed the deadline, and if you don't submit annual report to business registry, your company will be deleted. In addition to deleting, the business registry also is issuing fines, and the fines start from 200 euros and the maximum is 3,200. The amount of the fine depends on many things. For example, how long you have not submitted the report. And the thing with the fines is that doing the fine and even paying the fine does not mean that you don't have to submit the report. So this requirement still stands. What happens if you receive a warning but you ignore it? So for some reason you still don't submit the report, then the business registry will again write to you and say that if you don't submit us the annual report or you don't start liquidation of your company, then will we delete the company from the business registry. And once the company is deleted, it means that company does not exist anymore. It can create quite realistic problems. Also, we deal with here problems like company has been deleted, but then client realized that there was some bank account of the company and there's money on the bank account. So now, because the owner of the account does not exist anymore, it has been deleted from the registry, so the money does not belong to anybody. So in order to get back the money from the bank account, you have to go through quite a long and costly process of restoring your company through Estonian court. We don't recommend that because it is, depending, of course, on the situation, can be very costly. First of all, is even if you restore your deleted company, you still have to submit all the reports that you did not submit and which were the reason that the company was deleted. So you still need to do all these things. Yeah, that's why it's better not to go that far. And if it's really a situation where you don't see any business plans with your Estonian company anymore, better to close it. And about the closing the company, we will talk later after we have covered the accounting part. So Greta, please.
So hello everyone. So you wanted to know what is the annual report. Annual report is the result of the last financial year. It includes three main reports, the three main accounting reports, which are balance sheet that shows company's assets, liabilities and equity, and income statement that shows the result of the annual report, like profit or the loss. And also the management report must be included in the annual report that shows us what are the plans for the future and what was the activity in this year. So in order to submit the annual report, accountant needs some main documents that are bank statements, all the bank statements the company have, even if they are empty or you haven't had any activity there. Sales invoices or the reports from sales platforms like Amazon or Shopify, depending on what are you doing. And also all the purchase documents, for example, purchase invoices, contract, loan contracts, everything you have related to your company and main activity. So, and every bank transaction must have the source document. This is really important to notice that Excel files are not source documents. It would be good to have an Excel file for your descriptions of the costs or incomes, but please remind yourself that you have to have all the documents. In order to have all these necessary documents, I suggest to take a picture of the document or scan all the invoices that you have. So if at the end of the year, when your accountant will ask the documents, you will have everything in order. So, and also another thing that may be an issue during the annual report submission, that most of the documents are lost or there are some missing documents. Then you don't have to worry about it, because in Estonia we have actually two ways how to proceed with missing documents. One is to declare them as missing documents and pay income tax of that. And another part is, another option is to pay back the amount to the company. So two ways. And the most easiest way is to declare the costs and pay the taxes to the tax office. Then you don't have to pay this amount from your personal account. So also it's important to include all the documents and costs and incomes to the accounting, because everyone who are going to see your annual reports see everything, and the result should be real and transparent. If there are something missing, then yeah, it would be considered that then the annual report will not be the transparent, and the tax office or someone else might have the questions. Also, as I said, the annual reports are available to everyone. Like Katrin also said, you can purchase everyone's annual report if you want, and you can see all the results that your partners are doing or competitors are doing. So yeah, everything should be recorded accordingly and based on rules of Estonian tax regulations. As you know, as Raimo already said, most of the company owners would like to do the annual report by themselves. Yeah, it would be a good option if you are a small business owner and you don't have any how to say difficult transactions, but for owners every transaction is easy. But as accountant, I will say that all the transactions might not be that easy as they seems to be. And in this case, accountants will help you to declare them accordingly. Maybe you have to register yourself as a VAT payer in Estonia. Accountants and service providers will help you with all the questions you have, and will help you with everything regarding to the annual report and regular accounting as well. So yeah, the taxation is another part that is really important during the annual report. But if you have any additional question about taxation in Estonia, so we should do another webinar, or you can ask them directly after that. So if all the costs and incomes are registered in the accounting, then the member of board should submit the annual report. In order to submit the annual report to the business registry, accountants or the service provider should have the access to the business registry. In order to do that, the member of board should have a valid E-residency card and valid PIN codes. If the client doesn't have the E-residency card or valid E-residency card, then there are a little bit tricky that one to submit the annual report, but we can do it. But the easiest way is to do it with your E-residency card. And to proceed with it, you have to give the access. Our team will help you with it. We will send you the instructions how to do it. It might take like 2 minutes. And after that, the accountant can proceed. We will enter all the reports, balance sheet, income statement, management report that comes from you. And if all the data is recorded in the business registry, then we will send the annual reports to the member of board, and member of board will sign the annual report and can also submit it. After the annual report is submitted, then you can decide whether you want to pay out dividends, or if you can pay out the dividends. If there are losses, then you, of course, you cannot do it. But if your company is profitable, then it's an option to pay out the dividends. So Katrin will talk about a little bit about dividends and equity on this case. And for me, that's it.
Just to stop you for a while, I heard about the E-residency card and that you need to give access to the business registry. I just wanted to tell you, all the listeners, that lately we've also seen that if you're missing annual reports and you have a situation where you need to renew the E-residency card, then you cannot do it because you're missing an annual report. The government says that, hey, you have not done your business activities, or you haven't reported anything in Estonia, so why do you need the E-residency card? So in any case, we recommend renewing the E-residency card ahead of time so you could do the annual report And we recommend doing your annual reports every year so you could renew your e-residency card, because we've had really funny and unfortunate situations where the client wants to submit an annual report. They cannot because they don't have e-residency card. And then we have to do it via notary or in some more complicated way. And then, yeah, it just gets more expensive and more harder for you to do the annual report. So yeah, just wanted to add that, but please go ahead and talk about dividends.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's proceed with some legal topics. So once annual report has been done, has been approved by the owners, have been submitted to the business registry, then you know what is the actual financial situation of the company. Dividends are related to the annual report, meaning that the decision to pay dividend to the owners can be made only based on the approved annual report. What it means is, for example, you registered your company in 2021. Mm-hmm. In November already, you see that you have really nice income, and you would like already to take dividends, but you have to wait until the end of the year. You have to prepare the report, because only when you do the report, you will, like Grete said, you will actually record all the cost documents correctly. Yeah. Then maybe you will need to pay some taxes. Maybe some cost documents are lost. So you only know the real situation when you start working on the annual report, which you can start doing in January. This means that that from 2021, you can start make payments this year. And it is also of course, the decisions of the owners that if there is a profit in the company, then if and how much from this profit will be paid out. This decision has to be made after you have approved the annual report, but it can be done like any time after, and it can also be done several times. For example, you close 2021, you have a net profit, then now you decide, I want to distribute, I don't know, 1,000 euros. Then next month you can decide that you want to distribute 3,000, and so on and so, as long as you have enough profit to pay. So there are no like limits, like how many times you can make a decision to pay the money. It just has to be after the annual report has been approved. The second topic is equity, and why we talk about it is because we see, based on our client experience, that it's not very maybe known, the fact that the law provides certain legal like equity requirement. And what is equity? To say like in more simple, it's your net assets of the company. It means it includes your paid capital, paid share capital. It includes the company's profits from previous years. And it includes reserves, if you have a reserve, because the reserve currently is a voluntary. So if the company's owners have decided to create a reserve, then it's in your equity. But let's say that it's not all companies have a reserve. So the main part of your net assets is the paid capital and your profits from the last years. And what it means that there is a negative equity. It basically means that your paid capital and your profits from last year are less than your capital. And we say less than your capital because, again, majority of our clients at least have a minimum capital of 2,500 euros. And the law says that your net assets cannot be less than half of the capital or not less than the minimum capital. So this half then capital in many cases does not apply, because if you already have a minimum capital, then you have to consider that your legal limit is this capital amount. And just like to give an example, maybe to real example from a life. So basically it means that if your company has a minimum capital of 2,500 euros and you have paid this capital, in this case, even if you end a financial year with €1 loss, it already means legally that you have negative equity and you have to take some steps that we will shortly discuss. In case your company's capital is 2,500 euros, but you have not paid capital to your company, it means that your profit, if your profit is less than 2,500, then already you have a negative equity and you have to do these legal steps that we will discuss. So for companies who have not paid the capital, it's extremely important to see if you end your annual report and you have question about whether your equity matches the legal requirement or not, better consult with your accountant. Because what happens if your company's equity does not comply with the legal requirements? It means that you submit your annual report and already you have to submit, you should submit to the business registry explanation why you have a negative equity and what are you going to do about it. Because if you don't submit it with annual report, anyway, you will have this like a question coming from the business registry. So you submit your report, the business registry will review the report. They will notice that, okay, the equity of this company does not comply with the legal requirement. They will send you a letter. And in this letter, they basically want to know what are you going to do to amend this situation. And there are 4 options established by law what you can do. The first option is to amend the situation. You can decrease or increase the share capital. If we talk about, again, majority of our clients who have minimum share capital, 2,500. So the decrease of the capital is out of question because it's just not possible to decrease the capital below 2,500 euros. If your company happens to have a higher capital, then the decrease of capital can be an option, but it may not be in the long run maybe the best choice because you still need to capitalize your company. So you should consider other options. The second widely used, I would say also with our clients option is to create the reserves. But this is also important to stress that not all kind of reserves. It's not enough that you make, let's say, transfer of 5,000 euros to the company's bank account. You say it's for the reserves. It has to be statutory reserved, which means that it has to be regulated in the Articles of Association. It has to be registered with the business registry. And once this is done, and you as an owner make contributions to such reserve, only this is accepted by the business registry. Third option is maybe the, how to say, you may consider the third option in case you don't see maybe the how to say, you don't see a business plan going as you want it to, and you don't see that option 1 and 2 will give you the result. So the next thing that you can inform the business registry is that you want to close the company. Or if you have, for example, 2 Estonian companies or 3 Estonian companies, then there is an option to merge all of them or two of them into one. And by merging, you also will eliminate this equity problem. And the fourth one is maybe the harshest one, is that if your financial situation is in such bad situation that you can't amend it with additional contributions from the owners, then you just need to declare the bankruptcy. And the bankruptcy has to be declared by the board as soon as the board realizes that the company does not have enough money to cover the debts. So this is the liability of the board, and the respective application has to be submitted to the court. And then the court starts the bankruptcy, they appoint the bankruptcy trustee, and all these legal steps will follow. But we usually, when we detect with our clients that they have some equity problems, then let's say creating this reserve option and merging, and also the liquidation are maybe the three main things. And one also what I want to mention, it's not a legal option, but actually the simplest option is to start selling, because if your company creates revenue, then you don't need to look for these legal possibilities of amending your financial situation, or making more contributions, or trying to find a way to merge, or closing the company. Just create revenue, and that will solve the problems.
Exactly.
Yes. So yeah, that's it from legal side.
There was actually a good question. First of all, thank you, Katrin and Grete. As I understand, you are kind of finished, and then hopefully the listeners got the information they asked for, because we did receive questions up front to this webinar. But the good question that was asked is, Maria is asking, is the profit same as the bank statement? Meaning, if I have 10,000 euros on the bank account, could this be my dividend amount? And well, I started answering Maria, but then I started thinking that, well, you have this balance sheet where you have your incomes and your outgoing expenses. So it really depends, I guess, whether that 10,000 is your pure profit, or is some of that owned to some other companies or something like that. But Grete knows better, I know.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that profit is not the same amount that you have on your bank account. But yeah, you can see the result of your annual report or financial year in the balance sheet. Basically, balance sheet includes assets, that is your money, and also liabilities and equity. And if there are some, in Estonia, the accounting is accrual basis. Yeah, accrual basis. So it means if the service is provided in February, then we have to record all the costs also in February. The same thing is with the income. If the service is provided to your client in February, then you also have to record all the incomes in the right period. And at the end of the year, you have some costs that are not paid, and that is not the same that you have the same amount on your bank account. So the money doesn't equal with the profit.
If I understand correctly, then if by the end of the year you have paid all of your costs, then basically, yeah, the number you have on your bank account is the profit. But if you still have some expenses from last year that you've not paid, then it's not your full amount of dividends.
For example, if there are some loans from the owners or debts to the owners, this also is considered as unpaid things, and they will pay it in the future. So yeah.
Okay, I hope that answers Maria's question. So Phil Wyatt is asking, if a loss is made in year one, can this be offset against year two profits to reduce the tax?
We don't have that kind of thing. In Estonia, taxation part mainly, but in Estonia we don't have a profit tax, and the tax is paid only when the profit is distributed.
Okay. Yeah, for me it was hard to understand this question, but
it's we can understand that if a person comes from traditional corporate taxation environment, then it's it's a question that you have. But in Estonia we have different taxation rules, and that's why there is no problem with loss.
Okay. Grete and Katrin, if you try to remind yourself the questions that were asked before the webinar and which we used to actually prepare everything, is there anything else you want to point out, or just to final words to remind clients what to do?
I think we covered, yes, we covered, so integrated these answers into our presentation. If somebody has more questions, then they can write to us directly. Legal questions to me and accounting questions to Grete, but let me check. Yeah, we covered the questions.
Yeah, if you have questions. Sorry.
Yeah, about the cost, there were questions about the cost, but this you can explain. how to say yes, exactly, how it works.
So all of the listeners here and whoever hears about this webinar, you will get a recording and you will get a discount code. And if you don't get the recording or a discount code, but you heard that there is a possibility for a discount, just contact us as sales support at 1office.co, and just refer to this webinar and we can give you a discount of 15%. But you have to consider that the price of the annual report depends on the number of transactions you've done over the year, and if any accounting has been done. It depends how many currencies are you using, do you have loans, do you have some other contracts, grants, or whatever. So all of those details we will need to know. We will need to see the base documents, as Grete told you, that we need those invoices. But the starting point is your bank statement. So always when the conversation starts, we will ask you to send your previous year's bank statements in PDF format. And based on that, we will look into the transactions and then we can ask additional questions already. So the bank statements are the basis of everything. And then we can, from there on, we can already start calculating the annual report fee. The minimum fee is 175 euros. Yeah, and from that on, it really depends on the scope of the work that needs to be done. We will send you the recording, the reminder to request this 15% discount, also the discount code, and everything related to this webinar. And you can then respond to that follow-up newsletter and just ask your additional questions if anything was unanswered. So yeah, that's it from my side. Grete, Katrin, thank you. Raimo, thank you also for you. And this is the end of the webinar, end of the slideshow. Thank you all for listening, for participating, for asking questions, and have a nice Thursday.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.